que queremos dedicar a una
Recording in
reflexión.
progress.
Je vais mettre... Tú la tienes ahí, ¿verdad, Carlos? Ok. Carlos, ¿ella nos está escuchando ahí? Vous nous entendez, Alexandra?
Oui, je vous entends. Voilà, et je vous vois aussi.
Ah, maintenant c'est beau, là. Parfait.
C'est parfait.
Excellent.
Non, mais je vous ai perdu à nouveau de vue.
Alexandra, Mitsotaki, Gérard Kurkdjian, yo, hemos cada uno para que podamos, en consecuencia, animar la discusión sobre qué implicaciones tienen estos festivales. Cedo la palabra a Alexandra Mitsotaki Kurkdjian. Alexandre, je viens de dire à notre public que vous êtes en Grèce, que vous êtes à Athènes, que vous êtes en train de nous accompagner pour échanger des propos concernant la vocation de nos respectifs festivals. Et nous voudrions savoir would you please share with the audience? Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening. I hope you can hear me well. I'm very far away from you, and I wish I were with you, maybe some other time. For tonight, for this evening, for this afternoon, it's evening late for me. I will try to do my best to share with you the reason why we started the World Human Forum in Greece, in Delphi, because we believe that a place, an ancient place like Delphi, an ancient place with lots of history, lots of beauty, strong symbolism, like Delphi, but also like Izamal, where you are, those places need to help us today to learn from the past in order to create a better future for all of us. This was the reason why we started our effort in Delphi. And I think this beautiful festival that you are starting in Izamal will have the same logic behind it. Bring together different disciplines, bring together different people, talk to their hearts, to their minds, to their souls, help their bodies to become better, raise their consciousness in order to make our world a better place. And the world is not going to become a better place unless we become better people. But let me go back to Delphi. Gastón,
No.
you hear me well?
Yes, now, yes, I was trying to connect my phone, but I'm listening to you clear and loud. You are perfect. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I want to say a few things about Delphi, because many of you might not know what this place meant in the past and what we believe it can mean for today and for the future. Delphi was the center of the ancient world of the Mediterranean region, very far away from your region and obviously not connected to it. That is why the people then believed it was the center of the world, the navel. In Greek we say the omphalos. It was that for over 1,000 years, from 800 before BC until 400 AD. So back then, people from all over the region were going to Delphi to look for answers for their most pressing questions. They were going there to consult an oracle, the oracle of the god of sun. And there we have a common point with Izamal, because if I understand it well, you too, you have a sun god. I'm not sure how to pronounce his or her name well, something like Kinikakmo, something like that. Anyway, our sun god was god Apollo, also the god of music. And Apollo's sanctuary in Delphi was one of the most important sanctuaries in ancient Greece and in the ancient Mediterranean because of the oracle, but not only, because in that place, people were gathering to do very different things. They were going to meet, to engage, to exchange. There were people going there for religious reasons, but also to talk about philosophy, to talk about politics, to talk about the arts, to talk about ancient tragedy, but also to compete in sports and in music. They were there because they wanted to meet in a safe place, because Delphi was what we would call today a third space, which means a space where that in fact didn't belong to anybody. Historians have said that Delphi was some kind of the first United Nations, because it was the place that nobody could conquer, because it didn't want to rule anybody. It was the center of their world, but it was not ruling the world. It was just a place to think, to exchange, to feel differently. That means also accepting the differences, accepting different people and seeing them as equally important. And imagine coming from Egypt, coming from Persia, coming from Rome later on, coming from all parts of Greece, a small country but a country with many, many small cities and states that were fighting all the time, but they were united in Delphi, where they could dialogue. So we felt that today, a place like that had again a role to play, because we believe that this is what we need. We need spaces where we can gather together, where we can share music and philosophy and our well-being, places where different people can come together to engage in dialogues. And this interdisciplinarity, this, I believe, you have it at the center of your new festival. And this is why we, from the World Human Forum and from Delphi, want to engage with you and stay connected and hopefully exchange. And what we would like to share with you is something we have constructed all together, not only Greek people, but all the people who came to Delphi with us over the last years. And that is something we call a sense-making tool, and we call it the Delphic Cube. But you will say, this looks exactly like a Rubik's Cube. And you are right, because it is a Rubik's Cube. But the story behind it is not the same, because the Rubik's Cube tells us that if blue is with blue and yellow with yellow, then we are winning. But the Delphic Cube will tell you a very different story. We will tell you that we need to interconnect everything. We need to mix the colors up. We need to abolish the silos and connect the dots, because the problems we are facing today are in fact all interconnected. We don't believe that we can speak about sustainability, ecological sustainability, without at the same time thinking about democracy. Because democracy is about citizen engagement, citizen participation, citizen responsibility, citizens engaging to find the solutions. And that's the second side of our cube, if the first is sustainability. But immediately after that, we need a different educational system, because our educational systems are in a crisis. And we need the educational system to allow the citizens to feel that empowerment and to develop those capacities, those skills, those qualities through empowerment to act as responsible citizens to solve the problems of our time. And then the fourth part is what we call inner transformation. This is also about spirituality. It's about philosophy. It's about well-being. It's about looking for meaning. It's about asking the important questions of what makes us happy in such a materialistic society. Is this really overconsumption that is giving us happiness, or do we need something different? And then the two last sides of our cube, the one is technology, and we clearly believe that although some people today question this, we believe that technology is necessary, but technology at the service of the human, technology for good, tech for good, and not under the control of a few to create surveillance for the rest of us. And last but not least, particularly for a festival like yours, we believe we need the arts, because the arts are the best way to connect to each other. Through music, through the arts, first of all, we speak to our hearts, we speak to our emotions, and we are not just rational animals, we humans. If we were rational, we wouldn't have created the mess we have created on our planet. We are also emotional animals. And that is why emotions, emotional intelligence, relational intelligence, spiritual intelligence have to play a role here. And there is no better way to do this than using the arts. Using artists, their creativity, their way of thinking out of the box, their capacity to touch us, to move us. So if we connect all those sides of our cube And if we keep always human at heart, then we believe that we will be able to understand that the problems that our society is facing today are not just a problem of sustainability, or just a problem of democracy, or just a problem of crisis in education. They're all this together. They are a problem of our civilization. That means an issue of values. That means that we need a very different approach to solve them. As long as we keep them all in their silos, if you go to a forum or a festival or something that is only about the arts, without integrating the other dimensions, it will not be good enough. If you go to a forum that speaks only about sustainability in a technocratic, I would say, sort of totally technical way, it's not good enough either. This is why it is so difficult. This is why we need this interdisciplinarity. And this is why I think that what you are doing today, starting this forum, is totally going in the right direction. And I would be very, very pleased to organize what we call a Delphic meeting in Izamal, maybe next year, or maybe next time you gather together. So I want to thank you very much. I think we have shared one or two little videos with you. If you want to watch them, you can. I would like to end by saying that we know that through Delphi, we can send our messages around the world. And the first message we sent was last year here in Europe. You know, now Europe with the war has its mind elsewhere. But last year, at the same time of the year, more or less, we had the pleasure to play the Seventh Symphony of Beethoven in the ancient theater of Delphi. It was a Russian orchestra that was playing, and the Greek conductor, Theodor Kurentzis, and it was still possible then. And we were able to share this through Arte TV, the cultural television in Europe, with 3 million people in Europe. And the reason was that, in fact, when a place like Delphi becomes alive again, when it is awakened, it has a huge power. And this huge power of ancient places, when their spirit awakens again, is what is going to happen in Izamal. And that is what we want to do. And I'm sure we will succeed, you and we, and even better if we do it together. So thank you, Gaston. Thank you for inviting. And I look forward to more and to your questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexandra. Thank you very much. I think that you have conveyed to us a very powerful message, a very clear one. Sometimes these two vectors don't go along together, but you have managed to make us feel like if we needed to take new responsibilities in many senses. On the one hand, you have driven us, and if you allow me to, let me just address my audience in Spanish for a moment. Creo que el mensaje de Alexandra, Mitsotaki, Gourdain ha sido un mensaje muy claro y muy poderoso. Al mismo tiempo que nos ha guiado por las responsabilidades, por las ideas, por lo que se hacía en el antiguo foro de Delfos, en donde desde cuestiones como el deporte, pero también la filosofía, la política, se discutían y venían a abrevar en este lugar para encontrar un oráculo, que un oráculo no es otra cosa sino una concertación, una idea de dónde estamos parados como humanidad. ¿Y cómo es que a través de un juego tan sencillo en esta elipsis que nos propone, a través de este, no Rubik Cube, sino el cubo de Delphi que le llama, donde la idea es hacer que estos puntos puedan conectarse e interconectarse, porque el mundo no es tan plano como nos lo presenta esta vocación del Rubik Cube, de poner todos los colores en un solo canto, sino esa mezcla de puntos que se suceden unos a otros y que vienen hoy de distintas ciencias, de distintas especialidades, y un lugar en donde la música, en donde las artes, en donde la literatura y en donde la palabra cobra un papel muy significativo. Thank you very much, Alexandra. I think that we have much to think. Your message has been quite provocative, and I'm sure the people in this audience, and not only in the audience in this room, but people listening to this transmission in many other places, you can follow us through our Facebook channel, will, by listening to you, provoke themselves into new inner development goals, los nuevos metas y objetivos de desarrollo interno, que es lo que the new inner development goals, los nuevos foros de los nuevos objetivos de desarrollo personal y de desarrollo interno que acompañan a los objetivos de las Naciones Unidas en sus objetivos generales de sostenibilidad. Pero no hay sostenibilidad sin desarrollo interno, y esto es lo que el mensaje de Alexandra Mitsotaki nos ha querido compartir. Thank you very much, Alexandra. We'll for sure see your messages. It is 1 o'clock in the morning for Alexandra, and I want you to know that even though we will follow, I don't know if you could take from the audience probably a couple questions, and then we will let you, because you deserve it, go to bed. Thanking you very much for this outstanding presentation, both intelligent and provocative. Thank you very much again. And I
Thank you.
if I may, please.
Thank you, Alejandra. Thank you, Alexandra, very much for your comments. It's really, really very happy I could make it to listen to you. I just would like to make a comment, just like throw a comment. I really understood that you were thinking that one of the important part of those type of festivals, spirituality festival, is make the link between the ancient civilization and the super interconnected modern world, and a place of reflection, of sharing, of philosophy, of music. And Delphi certainly is one of those incredible places full of spirituality and history. I think that what makes a little different Izamal is there is something very specific about Maya culture that is still a very alive culture. So I think that there is this idea that you take the thread and you bring the ancient culture, but the ancient Maya culture is there. So that's what makes this festival very unique, because it's more about how people understand and how people get access to what already exists. If you go in the villages, there is a very, very, very dynamic ancient Maya culture that is alive. And I wanted to share that with you, because it's always interesting to see what is the impact on something like that, about the fact that it's an alive culture. So thank you very much, and have a very good, and congratulations to Gastón, because he's really taking an incredible challenge to make a festival like that. And thank you very much to all of you.
Is there anyone who would like to, probably Camila, want to address it? Okay, ¿hay alguna pregunta aquí en la mesa? Carlos, quizás con relación a...
Thank you, Alejandra. Gracias a todos. I just want to share with you the emotion that I get from listening to your words about interconnectivity. I believe that spirituality in arts gives that effect. It provokes that, and spirituality is a must if we want to attend to our spirit, emotions, to our mother nature. And another thing that I believe it's something to celebrate is this conversation of three persons who are involved into spiritual music events, because this is something that probably will give a new freshness to Mexican festivals and others, which are, to my taste, kind of stuck. And this is a new rebirth, and I congratulate you for doing this, Gastón, Alexandra, and Gerard. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos, very much. And Alexandra, it's very difficult to, some say it's very difficult to connect. 11, 12,000 kilometers away, you have managed to convey a very profound, sincere, and transparent message that has been understood by this audience. And I want to thank you warmly for your enormous words that tonight you have shared with us. Thank you very much. Good night, Alexandra, and see you very soon.
You.
Goodbye.
Enjoy the rest. Bye.
Me voy a permitir ahora presentarles a ustedes a Gérard Kurkdjian. Gérard Kurkdjian es un amigo que conocí hace algunos años, 5 o 6, en la ciudad de Fez, en Marruecos. Asistí a algunos de los conversatorios que, en su calidad de director artístico, de asesor artístico del Festival de Fez, se animó durante el mes de junio de aquel año en esa magnífica ciudad, en esa extraordinaria Medina de Fez, que comparte con Izamal una característica, y es esta condición de confinabilidad. Fez e Izamal son ciudades que deben hermanarse, porque sin que Izamal sea una ciudad amurallada, es una ciudad que mantiene este sentido de intimidad, quizás por la estructura de sus calles, quizás por la unidad de su arquitectura, quizás porque de alguna manera hay una espiritualidad enorme, como lo mencionaba Carlos, tanto en los edificios actuales como en los edificios que estos edificios actuales tomaron de otros edificios igualmente espirituales y de otro tiempo. El Jardín Buslud, el Teatro Bab Makina, la Fundación Fez, como grandes escenarios de aquel foro, donde se presentan grupos de todo el mundo, se comparan también con algunos de los escenarios en que nosotros vamos a presentar algunos de los conciertos aquí. Yo quisiera, independientemente de esto, pedirle a Gérard, I would like to ask you, dear Gérard, to address this audience from your personal experience as director of artistic director in several music festivals, but also as an Armenian, also as a European, also as someone whose musical meditation, as the one you're going to offer a few minutes from now, what can you share with us in terms of your Izamalian experience, and how are you going to inspire future festivals, and this one particularly, with what you have learned from other experiences, both throughout the world and in Izamal this time. Thank you, please.
Thank you, Gaston. Well, good afternoon to all of you. I'm very happy to be here.
Quiero que traduzco quizás para... ¿Todos entienden inglés acá?
Or French, or Armenian, maybe.
Oh, Armenian.
You know, maybe Camila can translate?
Camila, ¿podrías? Ya te pidió Gerard. ¿De francés al español? ¿Quién no habla inglés aquí? Todos hablan más o menos inglés. Y Gerard will make an effort to make us understand every word that he will say. Good. So
this is a killer. Well, there are so many things to say, you know. This morning I was walking I woke up very early and I walked in Izamal in the streets. And I had one thought who came to my mind, and really I will give it to you straight. I was thinking this city will face great future. Really, it came like this. Because I felt by the atmosphere of the streets, by some tourists who were already there, hanging around, I felt some perfume of success. You know? Yeah, really, I'm telling you frankly. I had this perfume of the future, and I was imagining in the coming years that more people would come here, and another word came to my mind. Really, it was this: Izamal is magic. And I had the same feeling in Fez 30 years ago. Because when I started the Festival of Fez, it was in 1944, the first... 1944. But I worked since 1993, because I worked... It started in 1994, and I started to work 1 year before. So I was part of all the steps of this event. And at the end of the first edition in '94, when we finished the last concert, we were working with the promoters, and we were laughing and saying, we are going to die with this festival, because it was a long future which was already in the germs of this first edition. And really I was thinking something like that this morning in Izamal. Gaston said something which is very right about the specific characteristic of Izamal and Fez. You know, in the French classical theater, we have in French something we call la règle des trois unités. Racine, Corneille, the great French authors of great French classical theater. In French, unité de temps, unité de lieu, unité d'action. You can... Voilà. Everything is in one place, the drama, the space, and the development. And Fez, it's like this, because in Fez, you have the Medina, it's a traditional city, centuries old. You cannot take the metro and go in a discotheque to dance after the concert. You are concentrated in the thing, you know? From the beginning to the end. It's a long festival, it lasted 9 days. So during 9 days, you are under this sweet pressure of the sacred musics. I think in Izamal it might be the same, because it's I was about to say a holy city. I don't know if it's a holy city, but there is something which is directly related to this concentration of the center, the people. You think that you can feel the unity which is breathing in this place. And when I speak about unity, I speak about a very deep unity. L'unité, l'un, the un. Something like the spirit is living here, as you have the spirit in the city of Fez. That you cannot feel if you are in Paris or if you are in big European cities. Even in Rome, because of course Rome you have the old ancient monuments, but in the same time you have all these rumors, clubs, people, etc. There is a sort of natural protection which give a lot of power to the place, to the city. Well, now about the content. The content is spirituality, music, but rooted and appuyé on this very ancient Mayan tradition. And this is very important because one of the big problems of our time is that our modernity has cut the relation with its roots. And of course, if you have no roots, you have no chance to develop anything. And also, this idea to open the society, the modern society, to universal values. Universal values, it's a nice word, but if it's not connected with local, deep identity, universal values doesn't mean anything. Because it floats in the air, and it goes with the wind here and there. And if you can see, you have a lot of beautiful trees in this area. They have very high branches going very high in the sky, but in the same time, they are rooted. And this combination of opening to the wild world and in the same time being deeply rooted in a specific identity which has a long secular history is very strong. You know, Gaston, maybe you will help me if I say it in French. A thought, une pensée, has its maximum of power. It's like a bow, you know, when quand tu tends l'arc très très loin en arrière, la flèche, elle est très très forte. It's the same thing with your thought. If your thoughts are connected very back in a very thick past and strong past, your thought will be very powerful. You see? Yes. And if you do, poop, the modernity is this. Poop, poop. You see? Yeah. Yeah. Sí. Tensión di pensamiento. Sí, Gastón. Thank you. It's exactly the word. So, in this festival, we have the chance, thanks to Gaston, because I don't know much about Mayan culture. Of course, with all my life since 40 years, I am deeply involved in spiritualities of the world. I have written books about that, etc. But I have no direct relation with Mayan culture, and I am discovering it in its reality, and I'm very happy and proud to be part of this. So, this combination of past and present, it's very important. Like, for example, Alexandra Mitsotaki talked to us about Delphi, which was the mythical place of the oracle, which was the place where the truth was delivered to the world, because the motive of the presence of this oracle was to deliver the truth. And this truth was something which was, first of all, mysterious. And I think it is very important to keep this element of mystery, because mystery is what will give life a chance to expand. So the combination of ancient civilization, spirituality, and music is a beautiful combination, because it gives the chance to beauty, truth, and mystery to offer a sort of bunch of life. You see, bunch of life. So this is the chance that we have to live this moment, and we may think that it's also a mythical moment, maybe, who knows, you know, because we are creating myth in the elegant and deep sense of the word. And the spirit, the old spirits which are here, probably are present and are hearing us, and they will connect everything, you know, welcoming also the spirits of all different civilizations, which are very strong also. It's a meeting of spirits, if I may say, you know. And the presence of other culture, of Islamic culture, Christianity in its most beautiful part, Buddhism, Hinduism, all these spiritualities are gathered here throughout music. And this is, I think, very, very important, because if you think a little, some moment, you can realize that the music in our modern time is the major medium. You have music all over the world, and if if Pythagoras, the Greek philosopher, you know, it is said that Pythagoras was hearing the music of the planets when they turn around. If Pythagoras was alive today, I think that he would hear, coming from the earth, not the music of the planets, but the music coming from all the areas, all the villages, all the cities, all the restaurants, all the shops. And the music is the most pregnant medium in our world, because it has the most powerful energy to touch the deepest part of human being. And this particular energy that is in music, it's due to the presence of a spirit. There is a spirit in music, a living spirit. When I'm speaking about a spirit, have you already took in your hand a small bird, fallen, you know, and you can feel it, you know, breath, watching you. Music is something like this. There is something alive in the heart of music. And this presence of music is the presence of life. And the chance that the music brings to this big meeting of spirituality is to offer something which is really not, it has something to see with truth, but a truth which is beyond the words. Because when truth is directly connected to words, it can be a prison. It can become a prison. And instead of that, with music, you have this wave of freedom, wave of life, which is present. And I think that the chance of this festival, Páayt'aan, is to have this life permanently present, because it is connected, as I said sometime before, with beauty, truth, and mystery. Well, some words, but you know, just some words. There are so much more to say. Yes, please.
I just wanted to say that Gastón just left. He's going to make a roundabout with some people in the community.
Okay.
So he apologized.
No.
Just told me to share with you that let's take the time needed to end up nicely this great conversation.
Thank you. Now I'm watching because at 5:30 I am going to have a musical meditation in which I will invite you to leave some of the words I tried to share with you. Je sais pas. There is a museum, je crois qu'il y a un musée. Voilà. And just to conclude, we have this forum of sacred music, because we might have called it Forum of the Sacred. Forum of the sacred musics of the world, it's something different because throughout you touch the spirituality through the medium of music. And I wrote quite a big book which is called Le Grand Livre des Musiques Sacrées du Monde, the big book of the sacred musics of the world. And I discovered, of course, throughout my own experience as a musician, as an artistic director, but also when I wrote this book, I made a lot of researches that spirituality has thousands of faces throughout this music. And the great interest of this spirituality is present in music is that even if you are a Muslim, you can share with great pleasure the Gregorian chant. If you are a Buddhist, you can share with great pleasure Hindu traditional music, etc., etc., you know. Because if you start to discuss and to argue, the understanding is getting a little more difficult, even if apparently it might look easy. With music, you cannot lie. The music never lies.